Now then, when I were a lad in Leeds growing up, they used to say, good stuff lies in little room, whatever that means. But maybe that applies to this little fella here. When you don't see on YouTube on the bench, you see a few in the air. This is a made in Russia, about the end of the 90s, early 2000s. A NORVEL, at least that's the name on the box. NORVEL, standing for Northern Velocity, made in St. Petersburg. It's also described as, you're right, Clive, an AMA or AMD, depending on how you read Russian Cyrillic writing. It's no longer available. It was marketed in the UK and in the States, I think, and it came out in several different guises later on. I think Stells and AP took the design and made, I think AP made a Hornet. But this is the NORVEL Big MiG, whatever that stands for. Big MiG applied to 2 or 3 other engines, 15 or 25, I think. Glow engine, obviously. This is an 061, so it's 1cc, more or less. It's got quite a few interesting features apart from its diminutive size. Very neat little muffler there, as you can see. Peripheral Venturi carburetor. Interestingly, with the bolt below the spray bar that secures the Venturi. Now, this box of tricks came without the bolt, so I've, in Chadwick fashion, bodged a pin through there. So that sits below the spray bar, which is interesting, but it doesn't seem to, stop shaking, John, doesn't seem to affect the performance. It's got a Cox type integral head, glow head, which sits there. They make these things, apparently they can design the combustion chamber better than if you put in a standard glow plug, which are all different designs. That would fit too, a standard glow plug on there. I haven't run it with a standard glow plug. It'll certainly run differently. It won't run at all if you can't get the head on. Never mind. The other interesting, possibly more interesting, quite interesting thing about this is that it has an aluminium liner and I think an aluminium piston, which is very rare, but it has some revolutionary ceramic coating called Revlite, which they put on 2 or 3 other big MiG engines. It's supposed to give a better fit, better fuel consumption, and it has a real pinch at the top. I can barely turn that over without the head being engaged. But this swings this little 5.5 by 3 prop quite merrily on low nitro fuel. I'm guessing that, like a lot of little Cox type engines, it likes a lot of nitro, and I think you'd get 20,000 revs out of this on stronger medication. It's a plain bearing, not that that seems to hamper its performance. I think they were made one, or somebody else made a looky-likey with ball races, but certainly on you can get much smaller engines with ball races, so it's not an engineering problem. What else can I tell you? It has, it came with a little thing to take the head on and off. That's the box, NORVEL, made in Russia. Sorry about that. It also, come on, Clive. It also comes with some pretty useless instructions, part list. The finally, perhaps the other thing about this Revlite coating is that it seemed to make for very difficult initial starting and running in. And if you look on the web and the blog RC groups and people like that, there's a lot of chat about how to get it spinning before you can run it. And they all seem to recommend taking the head off like this and spinning this with an electric starter with lots of oil. And it must somehow loosen it up slightly. I didn't do that, but it did take a little initial starting, but now I've got the hang of it. It starts pretty easily. Conventional back plate, screw on, nothing to see there. I think that's more or less it. I got this new, so it's probably sat around in its box for 20 years. But it does go now, and I'll post a vid of it running later. As usual, I'm grateful to John Goodall and the ever knowledgeable Adrian Duncan for bits of information about this engine, which I wouldn't have found otherwise. Lastly, there is a review of the 061, the 049 on Scepterflight, which is quite complimentary. And there's also a review I read of the 15 Big MiG with this same coating. And the reviewer said the only thing that worried me slightly was the instructions claimed with careful use this engine would last for 4 hours. Well, unless that's a misprint, 4 hours ain't much good for your 40 odd quid in those days. And I hope this lasts more than 4 hours, but we shall see. Perhaps I'll post another video, let you know how it's going after 4 hours. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice summer, hottest spring on record. And I think that's the end of summer on June the 3rd. Okay, take care, y'all. Goodbye.